All right, welcome back. So this is lesson number 3, and this is how we're actually going to start editing. This would be a pretty short one, to be honest with you, as there's only a few tools we're really going to look at. So, assuming by now you've watched 1 and 2, you know how to bring stuff in, you know how to drag stuff onto the timeline, you know how to select certain portions of this, you know how to drag in just video, just audio. We're obviously just going to work with video for now. As capturing audio and everything will come in another project or later on in this one at least. Our focus is just going to be on this video for now, how we can add in effects and everything like that. We'll do the effects in the next video. Today we're just going to do cutting together a sequence and how to add in transitions, how to cut clips that are on the timeline, and how to, kind of keep it simple. So I have this video here. All right, quite nice little fly through. Also got this video here. Someone reading a book. Okay. So let's start with just some of the basic effect controls once we've kind of dragged this in, so we can kind of get one clip looking nice before we start adding in others. So I'm going to drag this onto my timeline. Okay, again, we come up with this. I'm going to keep the existing settings for now, just so I can show you how to fix some of these things. Boom, you can see it's too small. So let's start looking through this. Now, I want to fix this first of all. There's a couple of ways that I can do this. So if I right click on this clip, see I get loads of options pop up. Now, the one that we want is going to be scale to frame size. This doesn't always work. So let's see what happens. There we go. So it's made it bigger. See, we've still got these black bars here. The reason for that is that the aspect ratio this was filmed in is different to what we've set up. Okay. So I've still got an issue here. How can I fix that? Well, if I make sure I've got this clip selected just by clicking on it, and then I go up to the effect controls here, see I have all of these. Now, probably for yours, it will be all collapsed like this. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is scale it up. That's all under motion. So if I click on motion, here I've got position. This left number here refers to the x-axis. So that is left and right, basically. If I mess that up, I can always press this. I'll reset it to what it was. Boop. There we go. I have my y-axis, so move it up and down. Okay. Reset that. I have my scale. This is the one that I really want. So I can click on that, drag it left and right, make it smaller. I have another option here, but I don't tend to use this unless I'm animating. I prefer having the exacts with the numbers here. But if I just click on the word motion, you see it's given me a window here to actually scale it like so. I can also click on it. Now, there's one thing I really want to kind of bring your attention to, and that is this dot in the middle. That is the anchor point. So anything that you do to this video is going to treat that as the center. So if I was to move this off somewhere and start playing around with settings, then it's going to do it based on that being the center. So if I just quickly reset my anchor point, oh, doesn't like that. I'm just going to undo. There we go. If I have this in the middle and then I go for something like rotation, you'll see that it's spinning on that point there. Okay. If I take this anchor point and I move it off over to this corner and I rotate, now it spins there instead. This is going to be really important for when we start adding in things like keyframes and what have you. So I'm just going to reset all of that. All that I really want to do for now is scale it up. So I'm just going to scale that up. Lovely. Okay. That's basic effect controls. The only other one you might play with is the opacity. Okay, and that's just going to make it look darker for now because obviously we just have a black background, but I'll show you how we can use that over certain things. So again, I can pop another video next to it. So we have this video here of someone reading a book. Boom, 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 boom. Then I have a little valley here. Now, I realise I've just got a book and a fly through, and that is boring, but that whole sequence feels boring. So for one, this shot goes on for too long. So I've got two options here. I can zoom in to make my life a bit easier here when I'm actually editing it. Do that by going down to this bar at the bottom, that's your scroller. If you click on this dot and drag it, zoom in, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out. Okay. All right, so option number one. I can kind of find where I want to get to. Maybe I just want, I don't know, 3 seconds of this roughly. And I can just click and drag from the end. You've got to make sure that it's on this red bracket and arrow. You hover over it, drag it, boom. My other option is, if I want to add a few cuts in between, rather than just making it shorter, I go to my razor blade, or press C, start going through, cutting this out, okay? If I go back to my selection tool, or if I press V, I can click on that and I just press delete, and they're gone, okay? Now, this will be your biggest bugbear when it comes to actually editing, is having to move everything around, and especially if I've got 10 minutes of film after this, I don't want to have to go through, try and select everything or move everything one by one. I right click in the gap and I press ripple delete. It will move everything along for me. Delete, ripple delete. Okay, so now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds of this, and then it cuts. All right, I'm done with book. Bored of book. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. I just want a few seconds of this. I was bored by 3 seconds. Here we go. Main thing with editing is you have to watch it. You have to get a feel for it. One of the biggest pieces of feedback I always end up giving someone is, this is going on for too long, or that wasn't long enough. You've got to watch it. You know, like how a chef tastes their food as they go. You have to watch as you go. It's one of the things that makes editing such a long process. I'm going to ripple delete. Cool. So now I've got 3 seconds of this, 2, 3. Now I'm on to here. Very nice. This is quite a nice shot. It's not that boring. So I'm going to let this one go, zoom in on whatever this is. Is that a horse? I'm not sure. Cool. That's all good. I don't like the transition, though. That's boring. Don't like the way it just cuts. So this is where we go to our effects tab. If you can't see it, click these 2 little arrows. Effects. And we have all these options here. We're going for video transitions at the moment. And we've got a few options here. If I'm being honest, there's 3 that I use. Cross dissolve. And all you do is you click it and drag it in between the 2 clips. Sometimes it helps to zoom in. You can see here that it's kind of gone just on this video. And if I press play, see that it just kind of dissolves between the 2. Problem is that maybe I want it to start a little earlier into this clip. So if I've dragged it on wrong, if I just click it and then I press delete, it's gone. Drag it, let's try and get it in the middle somewhere. Sometimes it won't let you do it. Sometimes it depends on the length of the clip or something like that. So we have another option here. If it won't let you drag it in between, click on it. Go up to our effect controls. You'll see here, it will let me move it along there. I can also make it longer. So if I want a nice long dissolve, so he's reading his book, nice long dissolve between the 2. This is basically the process for any transition that you use, to be honest. Dip to black. So again, won't let me put it in between. So let's just see what that one does. It's a little bit too quick. So I'm going to go up here again. I'm going to move it in between the 2. make that longer, make that longer. You can also zoom out on these as well, just like you can on the timeline. See how that looks. So book, slow fade to black. Nice. You can see there what I was talking about before with the having to render the effects. It kind of gets a bit jumpy. It's not that smooth. It was a little better that time because it's had more time to process it. But that's where rendering it will come in handy. Okay. Nice. All right. Let's get a little bit more arty. So let's say over this, I want a low opacity version of this playing over the top. What I can do is click and drag it up to the next video. Drag this down. Drag this along so that the book is on top. Let's get them at the same length. Nice. So the problem is, obviously, the one on top is the one that plays. If I click this eyeball, I can turn it off, but go. So again, I can go to my clip here, click on it again. Problem number one, whenever someone says to me, I can't get it to lower the opacity, I can't get it to move, I can't get it to do this, it's probably because you're not on that clip, you're on another one. And it's something I constantly do. I will end up furiously animating something just to watch it and go, I haven't actually animated the right clip, I've animated one right at the start. So I'm going to go on that, I'm going to go to my opacity, turn it down slightly. Nice. So now we've got this book being read over that. Oh, very nice. Now, the next thing I can't really show you, it is just about patience and watching. You need to go through, you need to time your clips, you need to put everything in order, you need to make sure that things are butted up together properly, because if you have a gap, I'll just show you what will happen. It won't fill that gap for you, so nice clip, fade to black, and then cuts back in. You might want that. You can do that tactically sometimes. I've used it before in music videos where you want maybe it to kind of jump with the beat. So if you've got like a you can kind of put in little tactical cuts using the razor blade. Here, 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 for example. And then delete. And then it will kind of cut. All right, so you can use it for kind of artistic merit, but generally speaking, you want to make sure your clips are exactly where they need to be. Ripple delete is your friend. So that is kind of putting your timeline together. Now, audio works in exactly the same way. We also have audio transitions. Again, I haven't got any audio here, but generally speaking, there's only one type of audio transition, that's crossfade. We'll talk about what these different ones do as you go, but essentially they all blend the sound from one into the other in some way, so it doesn't just go... it's usually the white noise that you notice the most. You'll kind of hear a there's a little cut in between. So yeah, we'll talk about that another time. But that is the basics of getting a timeline together. What we're going to start looking at next is what all of these different effects actually do. And no, we won't go through every single one. I'll just show you some of the basic ones you're going to be using. I also have videos already on things like color correction and other effects. I'll just be reusing those videos rather than refilming. But that is doing a basic timeline edit